What's up, y'all? So I know a lot of my stories of, when I was coming off of Effexor and gabapentin and all that stuff are these doom and gloom stories, and they're some people think that I'm just trying to scare the hell out of everybody, and that's not really my intent. I'm just wanting to shed some light on some experiences that I went through, because I know if I went through it, some other people are going through it too. And this is kind of one of those same stories. That this is something that happened to me recently. And a lot of people frequently ask me, how are you doing now? Because Effexor was 20 years ago. How are you doing now? Well, on a day-to-day basis, I'm usually really good. And a lot of people see me when I'm doing my speed bag stuff. I'm Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky, right? But this past fall and through Christmas and New Year's, I was not doing real well. And these are self-induced things. I quit a job that I was at. I started another one. I was working in Houston 4 and 5 days out of the week, traveling home on the weekends. And I really missed my family. There was a lot of stresses going on with work. And most of the time, I handle stress really well. Stressful environments, I handle well. But there was just a lot of things coming into the mix with this that were really starting to weigh down on me. And I didn't really know how to process some of it. Okay. So we get to like January 8th. I'm supposed to be traveling up to Houston. And one thing that I had started noticing was the weekends that I would come home, the Sunday night before I would travel up that next Monday, I'm not sleeping at all. I would lay there in bed all night long, just wide awake, heart racing like crazy, and I could not get it to calm down. I didn't know what was going on. I knew that it was stress, it was anxiety. I mean, everybody goes through this stuff, and I'm laying there telling myself, Jeff, you got to calm down, man. Well, so fast forward to January 8th, and I'm standing at the truck. I'm telling April, like, my back is in just agony. I had a pinched nerve, a knot, whatever it was just killing me. And so I told her, I said, I'm going to go see the chiropractor. And I'll go out to the chiropractor before I head to Houston. And when I go in, I sit down, and this is, my doctor. I've been dealing with this guy for 8 years. He knows me well. And he knows the only time I come in there is like Jeff is messed up. And so I'm sitting there, and he walks in the door and he goes, Jeff, hey, what's up, man? And normally my response is, what's up, dude? Hey, everything's going great. And we sit there and we talk about stuff, and talk about speed bag stuff, and talk about April and boating, and we talk about life. And, it's always these great conversations. He walks in, Jeff, what's going on? And I burst into tears. I mean, uncontrollably, just crying my eyes out. I can't even speak. And he is just, Jeff, what's wrong? Jeff, what's going on? I can't even talk. I'm probably the better part of 5 to 10 minutes, which seems like forever when you're a grown man and you're crying about something to another grown man and you can't even speak. I mean, he's probably sitting there wondering, did April die? I mean, like, what is going on? And so I tell him, I finally calm down enough. I say, Nick, it's work. It's work. I'm away from my family. I just start going down the list of things that were just overflowing in my world. And he goes, all right, listen, Jeff, you are stuck in fight or flight mode. Do you know much about that? I said, I've heard about it. I'm not educated on it, man. Just talk to me. He goes, all right, so what's happening is your adrenal gland has been racing for, it sounds like, a while. Sounds like you've been dealing with stresses for a while, and your adrenal gland is tapped out. You have wrung that towel dry. There's just nothing left. So when you do that, your cortisol levels spike, and they can't naturally come back down. So your cortisol levels are hanging out way up here. Then your thyroid gland gets all messed up. And so your whole everything is just screwed up. He's like, you can't even think straight, because when your cortisol levels are spiked like that, you get brain fog really, really bad. He goes, so have you ever had acupuncture done? I said, no, other than one time I found some acupuncture needles at work once and did a whole bunch of them all over myself. I said, but yeah, it wasn't anything professional. He said, all right, let's get some needles in you. We're going to do some red light therapy on you. And when you leave, I need you to go by this doctor's office that's down the road and get some adrenal support, some supplements to help support your adrenal gland, and some St. John's wort. We've got to get you to calm down. I'm like, all right. He said, the other thing that you probably really want to do is, he said, there are these apps on your phone that you can, he's like, if you've got insurance, this is, it's like Talkspace. There's all these apps that you can reach out to doctors and you can talk to them. And he said, I was going through some rough stuff during COVID, that people were coming in here and, telling me stuff that I just was not prepared to hear, because there were people during COVID were going through a whole lot of stuff. And he said, so I needed somebody to talk to. And, man to man, that's one of those things of like, hey, I'll do this. Now, they come in, pressure points, they put the acupuncture needles in, put this red light therapy over my stomach, get me warmed up, and I can feel myself calming down. And I don't know if it's the pseudo pill effect of it, that it was just the act of doing something that my mind was saying, hey, we're doing something in the right direction. And so I can feel myself calming down. I'm taking these deep breaths. And when I left there, I went and bought the adrenal supplements, and I bought the St. John's wort. And I'll be honest, I didn't look up, my wife did. April looked up who I could, doctor that I could call and talk to. It was totally free on insurance. I could call and talk to this person. But what I did that evening was I started looking up stuff on YouTube, because I learned how to make swivels on YouTube. I learned how to speed bag on YouTube. I go to YouTube for a lot of stuff. And what I started finding were videos from like Joe Dispenza and Echkart Tolle. Man, the video that I watched with Echkart was profound. It was one of those things that it was only like a 4 or 5 minute long video, and he talks about the voice inside your head that never shuts up. The one that will sometimes can be kind of negative. The one that sits there and tells you that you can't do something. And when that negative voice starts talking, how controlling it can really be, and how sometimes when you're talking to yourself, it's in first person. I can't do this, and sometimes it's in second and third person. You can't do this, or we can't do this. You start getting multiple sides of yourself telling you, I can't. Well, you're right. You have to realize the things that you say to yourself, the way that you talk to yourself, are going to determine how you make your way through the day, the way that you react to certain situations, and the way that you handle stresses. And I was being extremely negative in my head. Very negative. So what I started doing was listening to these videos about how to change the way that you talk to yourself. And one of the biggest things I started doing, I did 2 things. So listening to Joe Dispenza, the power of meditation. I had never meditated a day in my life. Never. And I start listening to these guided meditations about calming yourself down, and I'm still working on the manifesting things, but manifesting the future that you want to see, and feeling the emotions of being in those moments, and learning that to more or less witness an emotion versus letting it control you. Understanding the difference between your subconscious and your conscious, and understanding how destructive that voice can be when you allow it to narrate your world in a negative way. And so I started meditating. Then I started journaling. I haven't done that since I was in probably middle school. And the power of written word, of what your intentions are, of what you want to do, and things that you want to see change, and just the way that you're talking to yourself in a positive way. I started doing that. Now, I'll be honest. The job that I was working at that was really causing me these stresses, and was part of it my own doing? Yes, I'll fully own that. But because the meditations and stuff that I was doing, I was starting to realize that, hey, I'm starting to sleep better at night now. I'm understanding more of how to control my emotions. I'm not saying I don't get anxious. I'm not saying I don't have moments where I feel this rush of, oh my God, you quit your job and you're not working right now. And what are we going to do to feed our family? We will figure it out. We'll figure it out. Thinking positively, putting the vibrations out into the universe of positive vibrations. Your heart is a magnet, and what you put out to the universe is what you're going to get back. When you're dark and you're negative, that's what you're going to get back. But I've found myself walking around like Home Depot and genuinely going there to get stuff for soccer, tennis, and walking around and genuinely smiling. You know, like, not any real reason other than being grateful and thankful that I'm still alive. Feeling that gratitude. At night, writing down in my journal like 3 things of that you're grateful and thankful for. Understanding that we can heal ourselves with a lot of things with the power of meditation and our own energy, because that's what we are. We are a being of energy. And understanding that, I mean, I'm still learning to wrap my head all around this, and it's been an awesome experience. I'm still processing how to deal with anxieties and panic moments, but I'm learning to witness them more than be controlled by them. I'm not saying I don't have moments where I don't lay there at night, because part of the trend, the habit that I started was that I would freak out before I went to bed about tomorrow. And now when I lay down to go to sleep, I'll meditate for a little bit, and then I'll write my journal. And then when I lay down, I start listening to these videos on YouTube that are kind of self-guided meditations of positive affirmations. And instead of allowing my mind to just sit there and go all over the place and think about all the things that could go wrong, and things that you don't have a job, and you got to figure stuff out, and listening to these YouTube videos that help bring me down, that if I do have that racing heart when I first lay down, kind of nervous about things, listening to these videos and bringing myself to center. And it has really truly changed so much of the way that I react to things. I'm being better about the stresses that I feel if Bodie has a moment, and how that I pull him aside and talk to him in a certain way of down on his level and talk about stresses and anxieties, because I was never taught how to process this stuff as a child. A lot of us aren't. And I don't want Bodie to be that kid. And so I am really working on stuff to where I can process things better. And a lot of that's coming through meditation and listening to these videos and taking adrenal supplements and stuff when I feel like my heart is being squeezed to the point that I just don't know what to do anymore. Or not stopping a video when a plane flies over, because normally I'd be like, I'm starting this whole video over again. You know what? This is just part of life. This is part of it. There's people on that plane right now that are happy to come home to their family. And that's awesome. So, if anybody has any questions about the stuff that I'm listening to that has helped me learn to process things better, and videos that I find inspirational, and things that just are helping me be a more positive person and feel the magnetism of my heart reaching out to help people, hit me up. I'd love to talk about it, because this has been powerful to me. And I know there are people out there that you don't have to go to a regular doctor to find help, because a lot of those regular doctors just want to put you on some pill. Now, did my doctor suggest a pill? He did. but it was an all natural, no side effects. Helped me balance my hormones, not cloud my mind. So hopefully this wasn't a doom and gloom for you, and this was a more positive video. And just know, I love all y'all. I'm here to help every single one of you, and reach out if you need some help. I'm always here.